Why get all your holiday decorations delivered through Instacart? Because maybe you only bought 2 wreaths, but you have 12 windows. Or maybe your toddler got very eager with the advent calendar. Or maybe the inflatable snowman didn't make it through the snowstorm. Or maybe the twinkle lights aren't twinkling. Whatever the reason, this season, Instacart's here for hosts and their whole holiday haul. Get decorations from the Home Depot, CVS, and more through Instacart and enjoy free delivery on your first 3 orders. Service fees and terms apply.
The holidays are all about sharing with family. Meals, couches, stories, Grandma's secret pecan pie recipe. And now, you can also share a cart with Instacart's family carts. Everyone can add what they want to one group cart from wherever they are. So you don't have to go from room to find out who wants cranberry sauce, or who should get mini marshmallows for the yams, or collecting votes for sugar cookies versus shortbread. Just share a cart and then share the meals and the moments. Download the Instacart app and get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes. Plus, enjoy free delivery on your first 3 orders. Service fees and terms apply.
And boom!
Common man, no show prep, no solid plan. Spins a yarn, begins a tale. The esoteric approach won't fail. Tune in, it's time for Common Man. Common man, charms the housewives like no one can. What'd you shoot? Where'd we play? Non-stop nonsense on deck today. Tune in, it's time for Common Man.
Welcome back to the spotlight, young man.
Why should anybody aspire to be a common man, an average man? Do you realize what it means to be average? That means you're the best of the lousiest, and the lousiest of the best. Now, if we demand more and more for producing less and less, while the have-not nations encourage and inspire and indeed require hard work and maximum effort, if we deify the common men while they encourage and reward the uncommon ones, well, the end result of such a lopsided race as that is too obvious to require elaboration.
I mean, it's like, hello.
And Peyton Manning takes the knee for the 3rd straight time, and that should do it, folks. The final score of Super Bowl 41, the Colts 29, the Bears 17, and look at the pandemonium from the Indianapolis sideline down here in Miami. Colts spilling onto the field. Oh, and there we go, the Gatorade bath for Coach Tony Dungy, and it's Mike Doss supplying the Gatorade bath. Good to hear from Mike Doss tonight as the Colts are your Super Bowl 41 champions.
I think we have a very good mix right now. I mean, the morning show does well, comparatively speaking, especially given what it has to go against. Goobers and I have done well, knock on wood, for 4 years. Common and Hartman have done okay, and Barrero is, in my estimation, the primetime player on our station. And then cultivating a couple of kids in Bludgeon Lake, and we have the Vikings and maybe some things down the road. So I think we're strong right now.
Season's on the line. 2 receivers left and right. McCown takes the snap. He steps up. He's all by himself. Fires into the end zone. Caught! Touchdown! No! The Cardinals have knocked the Vikings out of the playoffs. He has no chance.
Sometimes when you practice, you'll set up chairs. And you run through chairs just to show zones and stuff. The Viking defense looks like it's chairs.
The system is working the way it should work.
All the defensive backs covering are just atrocious today for the Minnesota Vikings.
Rosa, you don't know nothing.
Good morning! He's the clown from Brown. He's the 4th in the North. This is the Common Man, Dan Cole.
Some of that's true, and then some of that is false. We're okay with it either way. Common Man program begins in 5, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. Act you and yours. I'm the Common Man, Dan Cole. This is the worst all sports radio station in the country. So says a former employee who funny was fired from here. This is my La Brea tar pit. Yep, KFAN. This is where eventually archaeologists and paleontologists will be sifting through the rubble that will be 1600 Utica Avenue South. And guess what? They'll stumble across. It's sort of like panning for gold. They'll be sifting through the rubble with those little toothbrushes. You ever see archaeologists at a dig on documentaries? They'll have one of those archaeologist hats or those safari type hats with the big brim because they're out in the desert. So they're in the Gobi Desert somewhere. They're going through the ancient Mayan ruins, right? And they've got those little whisk brooms, and and then they're blowing the dust away. And they find this little, and then all of a sudden they stumble across. They'll go, egad! Look at skeletal remains. And look at it. It looks like attached. Look at those are his cold, dead, rigor mortis laden lips, and attached to it it's a Electrovox RE27. It's some kind of archaic communication, guys. This device, this guy he's some kind of a communicator. He's some type of a orator. And then they'll eventually find out he was just a Midland midday talk show host on the worst all sports radio station in the country. And they'll just say, just throw it back in. There's no sense keeping that. It's not like they're going to take it to the Smithsonian or anything. Do you believe those mastodons and stuff that they come up with there? Do you think that's just all made up with they just create it like a Lego, in some warehouse somewhere. They go, look at this, we found a mastodon's body. Because I just don't know how they do it, but apparently they do. That's a job that would be I don't have a lot of patience. Well, because I'm not a doctor, so I don't have any patience, to be honest with you. Thank you very much. By the way, we will be giving away tickets. Did you have Flop, Sweat, and Tears?
I don't have it in the system today.
What? Oh, boy, we need to give away some tickets today. I'm going to have to talk to Nick about that. Is he here today? Do you know? Did you see him?
Maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm going to have to run down to the office there, and then I'll be out of breath when I come back, but I'm going to have to get some tickets. That's the kind of material you'll hear. I was thinking about this, Tenneby. There have been 3 major moments in the history of comedy. One of the first was when Robin Williams made his first appearance on The Carson Show. He took the country by storm. No one had ever seen it. Look it up sometime. You can find it online. I mean, he took the country by storm. That's when Robin Williams, the genius of Robin Williams, became known to the nation. Then there was when Lenny Bruce got busted at the Hungry Eye. You familiar with that?
No.
Down in San Francisco, in Tiburon. And that's where all the beat poets used to hang out. Your Lee Corso. No, is it Lee Corso? Is that the name?
Lee Corso
he's a football
He's
guy.
ESPN college football. Puts on the mascot head.
Yeah, that's not the same Lee Corso. It's Gregory Corso. Sorry. Could you IHOP Gregory Corso? Let's see, maybe if I get the name right there. Jack Kerouac. The Beatnik generation, Tenneby. They were poet laureates. They would hang down in San Fran. That was just prior. That was probably a couple 13, 14 years before the Haight-Ashbury days. Does it mention Gregory Corso?
Yeah, Gregory Nunzio Corso was an American poet and a key member of the Beat movement.
Yeah, there you go.
He was one of the youngest of the inner circle of Beat generation writers with Jack Kerouac, Allen Ginsberg, and William S. Burroughs.
Yes. And they were hip now with it. Wow. And then...
he died in Minneapolis, huh?
You see, I did not know that.
Yeah.
When did he die?
He was born in New York City, but...
When did he die in Minneapolis?
2001, at the age of 70.
Chet Baker used to play at the Trident. Great horn player, one of my favorites of all time. I know Burroughs the jazz guy here, but I know a little bit about jazz. And Lenny Bruce got busted at the Hungry Eye Comedy Club for he was saying things that now you can say it on the Power Trip Morning Show. There's nothing you really can't say on the radio anymore, pretty much. And but he got arrested. I said, you can't say those things on stage, and he did. And I don't know. He may have did some time, but so there was when Lenny Bruce, that started the movement toward freedom of speech, right? Where it's like, well, no, if you're a paying customer and you want to come in and watch some guy tell bodily function jokes, you can do that. It's okay. Just because you don't like it, don't go then, right? Make sure it's there. It's PG. If you want PG-13, go to PG-13. Then the other greatest moment's actually two combined, and that would be Meat Sauce went from being booed off the stage at the Mudroom to 2 days later, he brought the house down at River Oaks. I mean, that's just, no one's ever had that kind of a rebound. No one's ever had that sort of a resurrection since Jesus and Lazarus. I brought that up earlier in the week. And so it was just, he was booed off the stage on a Wednesday. We couldn't get him off the stage on a Friday. He had the crowd. They were like putty in his hands.
It was courageous to even just show up on stage that night.
That's exactly right. He was courageous after what he went through. He sent me the text and said, I read it to you, didn't I? Where he said, I don't have it anymore. I've lost the zip on my fastball. And then I sent him, I'll take a little bit of the credit. I sent him
You motivated him?
Well, I sent him a text that said, you know, the kid's all right. You'll be okay. I said, a lot of people have bombed and then turned it around in all walks of life, right? I said, you just got to just go in there, take your time and have fun. Enjoy yourself up there. And he patrolled the stage like a general would a battlefield. He was just so good. He was back to being sauce. He was back in the spotlight. And you're going to have a chance to see the genius of Meat Sauce tomorrow night. We're going to give away tickets.
Boy.
I'm going to talk to Nick during this break. I'm running down there. I want to give away a bunch of tickets. Well, we have a lot of empty seats at this point. And I don't want to go around the Twin Cities breaking driver's side windows and putting tickets on dashboards, right? That's not much fun for me. So we're going to give away some tickets. The show, there's two of them. There's a dinner show. That starts at 6:30. 9:30 is the cocktail show, we're calling it. Sauce, Common, and LMG After Dark. That's when we're really going to let our hair down. And that'll be at 9:30. Those are the tickets we're going to give away to that show. So we'll do that a little bit later on. The legendary Mark Rosen will join us at 2 o'clock. That and so much more, including waiting for some apologies from Wolves fans who told me it's only 11 games, Common. Relax. Chill out. Remember that? That may have been the worst loss in the history of Minnesota professional sports last night.
That's saying something.
That's saying something because we've had a lot of them, trust me, including 41 Meat Sauce, speaking of sauce. We'll break. We'll come back with a little Distat lap, but Tennebee's got a keyword. It's our Grand in Your Hand contest.
Yeah, the Fan and Two Men in a Junk Truck want to give you a shot to put a grand in your hand with our national cash contest. Just enter the keyword check at KFAN.com now for your shot at winning. The keyword is check. Enter now at KFAN.com.
The holidays are all about sharing with family. Meals, couches, stories, Grandma's secret pecan pie recipe. And now, you can also share a cart with Instacart's Family Carts. Everyone can add what they want to one group cart from wherever they are. So you don't have to go from room to find out who wants cranberry sauce, or who should get mini marshmallows for the yams, or collecting votes for sugar cookies versus shortbread. Just share a cart and then share the meals and the moments. Download the Instacart app and get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes. Plus, enjoy free delivery on your first 3 orders. Service fees and terms apply.
MMA fans, it's time. Join Max Fuller this Saturday for a UFC 309 watch party at the ballpark, Twin Cities in Blaine. He'll be hanging out starting at 7 p.m. through the main card with tons of prizes, including a big screen TV up for grabs. Plus, great drinks, scratch-made food, and batting cages all available. Get the full details now at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Hootie-hoo! Metallica and Joe Bonamassa. I don't agency or production company will be representing Joe Bonamassa, but you know that's what the commercials will be like, right? Because
it better be.
Well, it's a perfect name. It's hard to say Olivia Newton-John, right? But Joe Bonamassa. It's like the Manasseh Mauler. It just sounds so good when you really do that, when you get in the back of your throat.
Yeah, you can't do like Justin Bieber.
No, you can't. That won't work. You're absolutely right. It's just not there. But Joe Bonamassa.
And Metallica.
God, I love it. It's the things that...
If they're looking for someone to voice it, yeah, you and I would happily do it.
We would. Hold on. I want to do Peek at the Purple, but I don't have anything to peek at. Do you have anything to peek at?
Well, I mean, you could do the sponsor read while you tap dance.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm trying to do what comes first, chicken or egg? I guess I could do the sponsor thing. Affordable Electric brings you Peek at the Purple. They've been doing service in the Twin Cities for over 30 years. Dependable, honest, 24-hour or same-day service, and they will give you an upfront affordable estimate starting any repair. Remember, Affordable Electric. They're shockingly affordable. Go to affordable-electric.com.
Well, the head coach, Kevin O'Connell, did have his press conference yesterday. Here's what he had to say about Aaron Jones and Cam Robinson's injury status.
Oh, very good.
Health-wise, Aaron's doing well, and I think he's going to be, might be a little more limited today, but expecting him to progress as the week goes on. And then one that kind of came about, who will end up being limited today, is Cam Robinson. Just had a little soreness in his foot, but everything checked out, and he'll just work through it.
Also on Peek in the Purple, Fish Wrap Factory West Side did a story, I think yesterday, late in the evening, as Paul Simon once sing-sang sung. Andrew Kramer did a piece about Vikings asked turnover-prone quarterback Sam Darnold to trust what's gotten him here. Are they saying that to any other quarterback in the league? You know what I'm saying? I mean, and I want Sammy to do well, and he's overall he's played probably better than most people expected. But if you're...
What has got him here? What's there to trust?
Well, that's it. That's what I don't know. Yesterday, he did talk to the media, and he said understanding situations and just being able to take care of the ball, especially in the red zone, that's kind of the emphasis walking away from the game, meaning the previous game, because he had 3 interceptions. As a matter of fact, I think I read, it's in the headline. It says, Sam has committed nearly half of his league-high 13 turnovers in the past 2 games. And are we 1-1 in those games? Or do we go 2-0 in those? 1-1, because was it Rams we lost, and then we won against
Jacksonville.
Understanding situations, just being able to take care of the ball, especially in the red zone. It's kind of the emphasis walking away from the game. Just going to continue preparing the way I've been preparing, keeping the routine the same. And when it comes to those situations, just understanding what the defense is doing, understanding the flow of the game, and doing the right thing with the ball every single play. And that seems like it has been the issue, because it seems like for the most part, for most of the season, he's made the right decisions. He's, even if he's throwing to the primary receiver, doing a check down, or if he's just getting rid of the ball because there's nothing there and the pocket's collapsing, he seems to do the right thing. But it reminds me of Mullins last year. Remember when Mullins would... Am I misremembering, as Roger Clemens once said, Teneby, didn't Mullins have a couple of 400-yard games? I know he had one 400-yard game. But in each of he would throw for a lot of yards, and maybe part of that was because we're behind, whatever. Last year was not a good season. We were 7-10, we all know. But he would throw, you just go, you can't throw the ball. You can't throw an interception here. What are you doing? He would try to force the ball into places that you can't force the ball into. Even some of the best quarterbacks of all time can't force balls into windows that are tend to be, you weren't probably around for this, but back in the olden days, in the 50s and 60s, even the 40s, cars had what they call wing windows. Do you know what those were?
A wing window?
A wing window. So you had your regular window. Remember, you had no automatic push button windows, right? You had a crank where you had to crank it like this. But that window would come down, and then from where the door where the window meets the windshield and the little the brace,
strip
right?
Of the frame,
the strip of the frame. There would be a little tiny wing window that had another crank. So you could open up that window. It was very small. It was shaped almost like a sail on a boat, right? So not a complete triangle. And then you could open that one up. I think it was strictly for flicking cigarettes out of the car. I'm being serious. That's what it was for. You'd have a cigarette, you'd flick it out like that. And so not many people, sometimes it looks like Sam's trying to fit the ball into the wing window of a car. It's just like, it's too small. You can barely flip a cigarette outside of a wing window. Google it and look at a picture so you know what I'm talking about. Wing windows on automobiles. Coolest thing ever. There was a time where cars didn't have air conditioning. Well, our car did. It was called 460 Air. You roll down all four windows and go 60 miles an hour. Thank you. So it's like there are times, and we discussed this earlier in the week too, Ted, to be maybe it was on Monday, Tuesday, regardless of what day it was. You and I were kind of mulling over the idea that, during training camp, I think Jets was saying, I've been telling these guys, I have to tell them, just trust me. Throw the ball in my direction. Mm-hmm. And he does come down with a light, even in double coverage. I mean, he's good at it. I'm not suggesting that advice is ill-advised. But if you're going to make that throw, it still has to be a really good throw. It's got to be right on the money. And in Sam's 3 picks, all were intended for Jefferson, and each one of them, at least 2 of them just weren't very, there was no chance for Jefferson to get to the ball, if I remember. So if he can heed his own advice here, where he says, understanding what the defense is doing, understanding the flow of the game, and doing the right thing with the ball every single play, we could be all right. Everything could be all right. Everything could be all right. But that remains to be seen. Our Peek at the Purple brought to you by Affordable Electric. They're shockingly affordable. Talk about the Wolves, and the question that needs to be answered, and you can answer it on the other side of the break, Tenneby. Did you consider playing sad eyes after last night's Wolves loss to the Trailblazers? It seems to be a daily occurrence. We lose to the Trailblazers every day now. We'll take a break. We'll come back and talk Wolves basketball next on The Fan.
Why get all your holiday decorations delivered through Instacart? Because maybe you only bought 2 wreaths, but you have 12 windows. Or maybe your toddler got very eager with the advent calendar. Or maybe the inflatable snowman didn't make it through the snowstorm. Or maybe the twinkle lights aren't twinkling. Whatever the reason, this season, Instacart's here for hosts and their whole holiday haul. Get decorations from the Home Depot, CVS, and more through Instacart and enjoy free delivery on your first 3 orders. Service fees and terms apply.
Joe Bonamassa.
Tune in to Wild Wednesday each week for your chance to win tickets to see your Minnesota Wild in an upcoming game. Wild Wednesdays are presented by Jim Beam, a crowd pleaser since 1795.
Couple 13-14 pass, Common Man program. I'm Common. He is Tenneby. A number of ways to get a hold of us here at The Fan. Phone number 1-800-320-5326. I think I've mentioned this before. Don't bother. We don't answer it. Booth at KFAN.com is the email address. You'd be better off sending us a message in a bottle or a carrier pigeon. Now, the KFAN Talkback is something we dabble in. We like that. Find the iHeartRadio app, search stations, find the Fan, microphone icon, corner of the screen, tap it, 30 seconds or less to deliver us an audio message. And then our favorite, the Bradshaw and Bryant Holla Hotline, also known as the KFAN text line. It is 64686. And I find it interesting, Tend to be, talking about, I think I've told you this before. If I were not a major market radio talk show host, a moonlighting stand-up comic, an author, an influencer, official, unofficial ambassador of Minnesota Golf, social commentator, husband, father, many other gadfly. I would be a psychologist because I'm just fascinated with human behavior, and it comes natural to me. I can figure people out. So we spent the last segment talking about Sam Darnold. Even Sam Darnold himself saying, "I've got to pay closer attention to what I'm doing." It's been a bit disconcerting. So as we discuss it, I get a half a dozen text messages with people. For instance, this one says, "Whoops, I heard Goff just threw another pick. LOL." And there's this one that says, "You better worry about the Lions quarterback." And there's several others like that. And it's like, those are people that I think are just left over from the Paul Allen Project. They want to hear nothing but positivity. And really what this is their defense mechanism. Because they fear it as well. They've suffered through it for years. Anybody that's been a Vikings fan, you've never won the whole ball of wax. And you love the way that you love the 5-0 start. You love that Sam started out NFC Offensive Player of the Week. The defense has been nothing short of spectacular. Aaron Jones has been everything that he was advertised to be, and then some. And then suddenly Sam Darnold is kind of reverting to the Sam Darnold that he was with the Jets and that he was with the Panthers, and you're bitter about it. So then your defense mechanism is to go, Common, he's criticizing my guy, and I don't want to hear it. And so he's a Lions fan, so Goff threw 5 picks. I'll go after Goff. And they think that gets me going. I already know the way the season. The Lions aren't going to go to the big game.
It's not what Rosen tells me.
Yeah, and if they do, that's great. I'll be as delighted as the next person. I think I told you I finally got over the idea that I never wanted them to win the whole thing, because once they do, then you don't have wait till next year. So I wouldn't mind seeing them get there, but and the thing with the kiddies, you don't have. I don't think Goff is there. I don't think you're going to have to worry about him. I think that was.
It's a flawed comparison.
Yeah, that was a one-off, I think, but maybe not. We'll see.
I was going to say it's a flawed comparison because that was his one bad performance this year. Darnold's had a couple.
Yeah.
2, Jared Goff has more equity.
Yeah, he does.
Right. He took the Lions to the NFC Championship last year, even though he wasn't as big of a part of the Rams getting to a big game. He got them to a big game.
That's correct.
Right. Sam Darnold's equity is. He keeps going from place to place because the way he performed on Sunday is where he's performed in many of the places I've been to. So it's
exactly right.
It's a very flawed argument to make.
But the people because they're bitter, sullen, withdrawn, maybe they even see the writing on the wall. They go, here we go again. Why do all of our Minnesota teams have to have an issue? And so
I'll say it again. If our defense wasn't as good as they are this year, and let's say our defense is middle of the road, maybe like 20th in the league. And now all of a sudden, instead of the Vikings being, are they 7-2?
They're 7-2.
Instead of the Vikings being 7-2, they are 5-4 or 4-5. Do you think they'd still be defending Sam Darnold on his performance? They'd say, nope, we need more out of Sam Darnold.
Yes.
But we haven't needed more out of Sam Darnold because our defense has been pretty darn good all year.
That is exactly
for the most
right.
part.
Hold on. There was another text message that I didn't want to get to. Here it is. The courage Meatsaw showed at that comedy event is not unlike the courage Rosen showed by going to a cabin 20 miles away from the nearest grocery store, and I do believe that. I think Rosen was even more courageous. I mean, he went to a cabin, and the closest grocery store was
roughing it
20 miles away. We out in we have a mail room here at
MAIL.
Yeah, right. Yes, MAIL mail room where through rain, snow, sleet, and gloom at night, the postman makes his makes his rounds. And everybody gets packages here. They're always sending stuff to Chris Hockey and Corey Cove and Dan Barrero. And everybody gets packages, gets gifts from people. And I never get any, and it's okay. But there was a box there, Tennessee, addressed to me from Hibbing, Minnesota. And I thought, well, I wonder what this is. So I just opened it now, and it included this wood carving, Tennessee. Can you see that through the window, or can you not see that?
Kind of. Is that a bird?
Yes. Here, I'm gonna bring it close to the window. You
could just pot up the lights a little bit for me. I see a bird on some flowers or some leaves.
It's a wood carving. And it says, Dan, when my dad 40 died and my mom moved to assisted living, we found a carving your father gave to my dad. I think the story's close to accurate. Anyway, I'm in the process of downsizing all of my collections and thought you might be interested in the carving. I do listen to your program on TuneIn. What is TuneIn?
I have no idea.
Yeah, but he listens to it. Forrest up in Hibbing, Minnesota. So my dad's oldest, there were 9 kids in the family. His oldest brother was Forrest. He was in the Battle of the Bulge. He served in World War II. He was Purple Heart, the whole thing. And my dad became a master wood carver. And I have a number of wood carvings I have at home. And now I can add this to the collection. This was a very touching gift, Henry. Sure. If you would have been here, I actually teared up a little bit. I like that that Forrest, who would be my cousin, thought about me and sent me this. So I like this. This is very nice. It's a bluebird. And it looks like, I don't know. I don't think those are roses. I can't tell what kind of flowers. Even though I'm a radio gardener, I'm not as up to snuff on my flowers and plants as I probably should be. But that's pretty cool. Wolves lose last night, Tennessee, after to the Portland Trailblazers, a team where I can't remember who wrote this. It was either one of the Fish Wraps or the Athletic, and it was so good, Tennessee. It said in talking about the Portland Trailblazers, it says the Portland Trailblazers are 2 years away from being 2 years away, which I've never heard it said that way. That's good, and I'm going to start using that. And it was somebody, I think, with like I say, it was either Fish Wrap Factory West or the Athletic. But yeah, the Blazers are 2 years away. God darn it! Why is it doing this? There, the Timberwolves the Blazers are 2 years away from being 2 years away. Here's what Chris Hine writes. Timberwolves slide continues with the latest of now daily losses to the Trailblazers. Have we lost to them 3 times now?
Well, we have the last 2 nights for sure.
And I think we had another one earlier. I think we're 0-3 against the Trailblazers this year.
And they're only 5-8 in the season, Portland is.
Portland defeated the Timberwolves for the second day in a row, giving up only 15 points in the second quarter and leading to a search for answers. Now, Anthony Edwards, who lives where, Tennessee?
Rent-free in your head.
He is the go-to quote in the Wolves locker room, and for good reason, right? He is the best player on the team. The team now belongs.
It looks like we beat the Blazers the first time.
Oh, that's right. We beat them. That's right. We beat them by 25.
Yes.
We must have taken them lightly.
We've lost 3 in a row since.
We probably took them lightly and came out flat. I always love that one. Anthony Edwards, he's the go-to quote in the locker room. He's the best player on the team, arguably. I don't even think it's arguably. He is. And it is now his team since Bodega Cat was traded to the New York Knickerbockers. Ant had a lot to say. We read the quotes yesterday after the loss to it was after the loss to Miami. He said something to the effect of, we're just terrible at defense. We just got to start playing defense right away. Me too. For some reason, we don't play defense starting the game. We wait till we get way behind, then we start playing defense. I don't think they even bothered to play defense at all last night. It doesn't sound like, even when they got behind. So not only are they not playing defense right away at the beginning of the game, they're not even playing defense after they get way behind. So we had a lot to say about it. You know what he said last night? I don't know what to say. That's why I don't know why people, and again, I'm sure I'll get the text messages that I got yesterday. It's the hardcores that don't want to hear the truth. They're afraid of the truth.
Can't handle the truth.
Can't handle the truth. There were these text messages to me yesterday. Relax, calm, and chill out. It's only 11 games. They need time to gel. Well, how long do they need time to gel? 12 games, 24, 36? What if we're still doing this 48 games from now? We're going to wait for them to gel? Edwards was abysmal last night, right? He had 24 points, but he was 0 for 9 from three-point range. And that was what he was going to be better at. That's what he's been working on. There was a story, this might have been an athletic one. They were comparing him to Steph Curry. Because, he'd had a couple
shooting all the threes, yeah.
Yeah, because he'd been shooting more threes and he'd been making a number of them. You don't make comparisons to the greatest three-point shooter of all time for a guy that's been on a run for 2 or 3 games. That's silly. The team went 7 for 39 from three-point range. 18%.
I think I could hit better than that.
Well, I know you could. That wasn't why the Wolves also lost the previous 2 games. Then he offered this about the team's once vaunted defense. Because it was once vaunted. Last year, we were the best defensive team in the league. Number 1 in defense, 17th in offense. We've kind of reversed that. I'm not suggesting we're number 1 in offense. Certainly not anymore. We were much better offensively. I think we were top 10. And then defensively, we'd been somewhere in the low to mid-teens. Here's what Ant said about the defense. The effort is there. Our minds, the effort is there. Just processing it in our minds isn't there. Once fatigue kicked in,
oh boy,
everybody's a team. We just forget low man gap stunt, and it's a domino effect. Got tired. Got tuckered. Back-to-backs, man, that'll do it to you. It's just, I don't know. Gobert took the blame. He stood up. He stepped forward and said, it's all me. He said, it's on me. Rudy said, quote, those 2 games are mostly on me defensively. I need to set the tone for the team, and I haven't done it in these last 2 games. Then Edwards and Gobert talked about something I think that does make some sense, Tenneby. Here's Chris Hines' next paragraph. Edwards referred to the team missing the chip on its shoulder from last season. Gobert spoke of the team not having the same edge as a year ago. Whatever the term, the Wolves don't have the intangible quality that propelled last year's group to the Western Conference Finals. They also don't have Bodega Cat and now have Julius Randle and Dante Vincenzo. DiVincenzo was terrible last night. He was 1 for 10 from the floor, only scored 2 points. Also says that while the 2-man offensive chemistry that had popped at times between Randle and Edwards has fizzled, Coach Chris Finch said, quote, we got to get that chemistry, that connectivity back a little bit. Which, if you remember, on the inbounds passes, they had like 3 turnovers on inbound passes the night before. He said it wasn't connectivity. He said, I can't remember what he said it was, but he said now he says it is connectivity. At least their issues from last night's game. I don't even know if they really know. I think a lot of it's just the way of the NBA. I think I really believe it. If it is because they don't have that chip on their shoulder, here's what I'm beginning to believe. And this is good. I'm about to say something controversial.
That's interesting.
I know that the numbers, I think you passed them along yesterday, and I think I saw them as well, where Bodega Cat has defensively, he can't stop anybody with the Knickerbockers, right? It's like inside some certain area, these sabermetrics and analytics, they're scoring like, 98% of the time, or 91. They just, Bodega Cat can't stop him. His mama can't stop him. Daddy can't stop him. The police can't stop him, right? So, but you know what I think they miss? You know what I think it is with Cat? I feel like because Cat had been here his entire career, was it 7 or 8 years? And he had seen so much losing, right? And that I do think I want to win. Who is that on that soundbite that we play every once in a while? Says, I want to win, and I want to win now, or something like that. We play that soundbite. I'm not even sure who that is. I think lifting.
So I know this one is Allen Iverson.
I want to win, man. That's all I care about.
Yeah, that's it. Is that Allen Iverson?
Win, and I want to win now. I want to win, and I want to win now.
Is that Richard Pitino?
Doesn't sound like Pitino. Sounds like a coach, though.
Okay.
I want to win, and I want to win now.
So I'm not suggesting that Randall doesn't want to win and DiVincenzo doesn't want to win, or any of the players on the team, but I think it burned inside of Towns because he'd seen it all here and it was all bad for the most part, right? And then he missed much of, wasn't it 2 years ago when we made that first little run before we ran it back? Didn't he miss much of that season because he was injured, right? The first season he and Gobert were together. Didn't he miss a bunch of it? And then he finally got last year. And I think that meant a lot. And I think he might have been that. And I don't know, because I'm not in the locker room. I'm just guessing. I'm just thinking that the chip on the shoulder, I think, was probably provided by Big Meow, by Bodega Cat. Do you think there could be anything to that? Because he'd suffered through all the losing here. He never asked to be traded, as far as we know. He got dressed down by Butler and that practice thing and everything else, and he's gone through the criticism of not being able to play defense and whining too much and all that, but he never gave up on the Wolves, and I don't think he requested a trade this time. I think they decided it had to be him because of salary cap machinations. That's what it was all about. I think maybe Big Meow was the guy that provided that leadership, and I don't know. It might not be him at all. It might have. Well,
maybe Anthony Edwards himself, right? I know he wasn't here as long as Cat, but hadn't done a whole lot of winning in his first couple of years, and I think he was trying to prove himself. He thinks he's one of the best players in basketball, but not getting the attention as one of the best players. And then he has that run last year where he kind of jumped onto the scene in the playoffs, and people were noticing him, and he was getting national accolades, and then getting Netflix. He's on a Netflix show.
On the Olympic team.
He's on the Olympic team. And all of a sudden, maybe that motivation. Now, you should still have a motivation to win a ship, but
maybe that's it. He wants to play in the NFL.
But that's then, after you've been on through all that stuff, is, how highly motivated are you going to be in a regular season over 82 games?
Sort of like our show together. We've had the wine. We've been to the heights.
Yes.
I mean, that's why some people go, well, the show seems to be lacking. Well, it's hard to motivate yourself after you've been to the top.
Yeah, but we're winning every time.
Well, that's true. That is true.
Anthony Edwards, on the other hand.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That's just a theory I have.
But, he should be the energy of the team.
That's correct.
So, if they're lacking energy or focus or don't have a chip, it starts with him.
Yeah. And I tend to agree with you. I think you're spot on. And it's just a theory I have about Bodega Cat. What do you think I like better? Talking about Bodega Cat or just saying Bodega Cat? I love that nickname so much. I wish I was Bodega Common.
But even to your point, you're talking about how Karl Anthony Towns hadn't won for a long time. Not only is he playing with a chip on his shoulder, but if you have teammates who have been with him for a while, they are connected. They're playing for him as well, right? Anthony Edwards might be extra motivated because he wants to do it for Cat, whereas, let's face it, I'm doubting Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle don't have some great close relationship.
Exactly. That's it.
At this point, right? He just got here a week before the season began, and so they're not necessarily playing for each other yet.
Yeah.
Hopefully that'll grow.
And Randall wasn't here for 7-8 years, getting beat all the time. And even when the team did qualify for the playoffs, it was just a complete and total and utter disaster. So, yeah, but it's early, Tennessee. We're only 12 games into this thing. Just relax. It's not a big deal. We'll eventually, you know what? Eventually, we're going to all look at each other in the locker room before the game starts, and we're going to say, who's with me? Raise your hand if you want to start playing defense right away at the beginning of the game. Right away. How many people want to play defense from the opening tap? How many people want to wait till we get way behind? And how many people just don't want to play defense at all? I bet a lot of hands will go up when we don't want to play any defense at all, but that's another story in itself. Let's take a break. Top of the hour break, Rosen at 2. Next, though, is 5, 3, 4. 10, what you got?
One of the best athletes in the history of this state is coming out of retirement.
The holidays are all about sharing with family. Meals, couches, stories, Grandma's secret pecan pie recipe. And now, you can also share a cart with Instacart's family carts. Everyone can add what they want to one group cart from wherever they are. So you don't have to go from room to room to find out who wants cranberry sauce, or who should get mini marshmallows for the yams, or collecting votes for sugar cookies versus shortbread. Just share a cart and then share the meals and the moments. Download the Instacart app and get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes. Plus, enjoy free delivery on your first 3 orders. Service fees and terms apply.
Why get all your holiday decorations delivered through Instacart? Because maybe you only bought 2 wreaths, but you have 12 windows. Or maybe your toddler got very eager with the advent calendar. Or maybe the inflatable snowman didn't make it through the snowstorm. Or maybe the twinkle lights aren't twinkling. Whatever the reason, this season, Instacart's here for hosts and their whole holiday haul. Get decorations from the Home Depot, CVS, and more through Instacart and enjoy free delivery on your first 3 orders. Service fees and terms apply.